No, I'd like to put some context on it before we just move to the public speakers.
Councilmember Brooks.
Thank you. So I'll start talking on this. I hadn't planned to initially, but you know, this is so unfortunate on so many different levels. There's been a lot of attempt to not get to today by the department, by the administration, and by members of this council. We violated our very own rules, which say that all items go to committees before they come to the council. And yet we're here tonight on a Rule 28, which does not allow the public to have its voice. A Rule 28 is where the president of the council and the city administrator agree and they put something on an agenda. This was already set to go on an agenda. But there has been a lot of attempts to try to hide behind things and I guess get more time to try to perfect a story. Because this started out as a raid. No doubt it was criminal. No doubt. Nobody ever disputed that. And so to bring a letter from the Attorney General that says it was criminal, oh wow, thank you. That we all knew that. But what the documents say is that the person who winded up getting arrested that day wasn't the subject of that warrant. And that's what we need to talk about. It is so disingenuous to get up here and act like we're stupid, because that's what we would have to believe that was just presented. It is unfortunate that all these things the chief is saying tonight, I met with her privately to talk about this. I didn't hear some of these things that are being said tonight. And it is only after public pressure to say that we are a sanctuary city. And if we're true to be a sanctuary city, then why was the chief colluding? Why was our mayor colluding? The chief told me that a sealed warrant that the attorney for the man who got arrested on immigration charges only has not seen. But supposedly the special agent in charge showed the mayor, and she confirmed, and an aide. How did that happen? Because they're colluding. And when I asked the chief, how did it happen? She said, oh, I guess as a professional courtesy. That is not an exception to a court order. And so how does that happen? And you know, in all of this, I never heard the chief say, I'm sorry to that family that she said were sexual traffickers initially. How about that? How about I'm sorry to a community that has a sanctuary policy that I could have said, you know what, I didn't understand what the council meant. But now I do. Right? And we could have been done with this a long time ago. But no. We spent a lot of time with the chief running over let me back up, because one of the things that was really troubling to me is the chief talks about in this presentation that she got a call from the SAC, the special agent in charge. She got a call. She didn't see that warrant until November. She didn't even bother to look at the warrant that was going to be executed in her city. There are fax machines, there are emails, they could have texted to her, but there was no interest in looking at that warrant until we started talking about her. How are we safe? And you know, when we talk about integrity, one of the things that this department does is it fires people for truthfulness. It fires people for truthfulness. So if the chief isn't being truthful, then should we fire her? Because you have to set the standard for the people that you work for, right? And so as I go through these documents, it wasn't a matter of directing traffic, because if you looked at the videos, the officers were standing right in front of the house. They weren't on any medians. They weren't in the street telling people which direction to go. So don't tell me at 7:30 in the morning your concern was that you were going to protect the poor people in the neighborhood. Don't tell me, don't come here and talk about friendly fire when the very report that you gave us says that everybody from ICE had something on that either said ICE or police. So there was no chance that you were going to run into somebody who was not in uniform and somehow somebody might get hurt. Stop it. This community is better than that. Respect us enough to tell us truthful reports. And tell us at the beginning, not after months of having to keep asking the same question and getting different answers. This could have been done a long time ago. We're still going to hear it on the 5th because you guys made a mistake. You didn't bother to, you changed the title. So the item is still on December the 5th. And so if all of this was as easy as we said, then you should have came to the Privacy Commission. You should have come to the meeting on November 14th and not pulled it off the calendar. You shouldn't have used Rule 28 to put it on tonight's agenda. You should have just let it go, because in doing all those things, it made you look dirty.
Councilmember Cap.